Hello my creative peeps, and welcome back to my channel for another video. This video was requested by a creative peep. I'm not going to try and butcher her name, so I'll leave her Instagram linked below. She does some pretty cool bullet journaling stuff and things like that, so go check her out. But she said she was going on vacation and she wanted to practice in her mixed media journal while she was away, but didn't want to take a ton of stuff. So she asked if I had any advice or if I would do a video on what I would take. So this isn't just something I made up on the fly. These are things I've actually taken with me on trips before. I've done this a few times just for like a day. I go on day trips and I bring a whole bunch of junk, but hopefully this video will be helpful for you guys. This is going to be kind of more creative journaling than mixed media, but you can mix and match the techniques. Anyway, hopefully some of these tips are useful. Let's just go over my basic things that I always bring. So first off, no matter what you're doing, you probably need some adhesive. So I always bring a glue stick, my tape runner, because you know, I like a lot of photos and stuff. And then I bring some type of wet glue. So usually I try to get like a matte medium or a collage glue. This is like a decoupage thing. You can often find little travel sizes. I know Ranger puts out some small ones, especially in the especially in the Dana Wakley line. They just came out with those. So I always put a wet glue in there. Now, for your wet glue and stuff, you're gonna need a card. I've used hotel key cards before and stuff, but obviously if you want to craft while you're still there, you probably don't want to use the one that they gave you to open the door. So one of those, scissors, of course. This is like a tiny pair of scissors for like fussy cutting. You think you won't need them, but you will. Next, basic pens. I always bring a pencil of some kind. I always bring 2 fine liners. You can do whatever floats your boat. I always go with the Faber-Castell, a small and a medium. It gives you 2 line variations, and because it's Faber-Castell, it's archival and waterproof. So it works all the way around the board. And then of course, your trusty white pen. Everybody needs a good white pen. Or I like these. These are little like mini Posca paint pens, so I would bring a black and a white one. I never fly, but I assume if you're flying, you would want to alter some of these things. But next, if you're doing mixed media, you can either gesso your pages ahead of time, or you can pick up one of these. This is by Dana Wakley Media again. It is 1 fluid ounce, so you could actually fly with this if you wanted to. But it comes in white gesso, black gesso, clear gesso, and then she has the matte medium, I think. So they're definitely handy to have. Love these, so I would bring one of these, because if you're doing like mixed media layering stuff, it's just always nice to have the white paint option. Of course, a water brush. Everybody needs a water brush. Then I would choose, in terms of coloring media, I like wet media. So it's gonna depend on what you use and what mode of travel you are taking. But what I would do is I usually take this watercolor set. This is by Winsor & Newton. It's a basics color set, great for urban sketching if that's what you're into. It's the Cotman set. I will leave as many things as I can linked in the description box below. But I always bring this one. It actually, oh my gosh, oops, throwing pans everywhere. It actually comes with a little detail travel brush, which is pretty cool. So that just slips in there. So even if you didn't have a water brush, you still have a brush, just add water. So I take that, and then I would choose 3 of your favorite colors in some type of other wet media that you can work with. They could be Tombow markers, they could be Tim Holtz Distress markers. These are mermaid markers. You can pick like a Zig Clean color or the Arteza brush markers. Just something that adds your favorite colors or the colors you use the most often in another type of wet media that's not just watercolor. So I would probably bring these 3 mermaid markers with me. But if I was planning on like sketching and not doing mixed media, I would probably bring some Zig Clean color brushes instead. If I was going for a long time, I might pick a handful of colored pencils to supplement it in there. But trust me, I know from experience, you're gonna overpack. You're not gonna use half the crap you brought. And it's just gonna be heavy AF lugging it all around. So try to pack light. You just need some of the essentials. And then of course, because I love documenting photos in my creative journal, I always bring my pocket printer with me. I have a Polaroid zip. You can, but I'm sure a lot of you have the HP Sprocket instead or something like that. So I would bring that. All right, those are like my essential tools. This is just a pencil pouch. Then this is like my media journal, I guess you could say. This is a traveler's notebook that I made myself, and I just bought a bunch of wallet inserts, the pocket inserts to put in here. This is what I usually use when I travel. I will take about half of these stickers, not all of them, so let me just take some of them out so you can see more ideally what we're working with. So that looks a lot better, doesn't it? So what I do is I have 3 of these. It's a little disorganized right now, but I'll just walk you through what I do with it. So in this one pocket, I usually have paper scraps because I like to layer paper. And then I'll have some magazine cutouts. So I like words. You can put photos in here, cut out magazine images, whatever you like to use in your journal. Like I said, you only needed a few. Pick 5 of each kind or whatever and put them in the first wallet. Then in the second one, I take more of, what can I say, more embellishment type things. So these are Tim Holtz embellishments. There's like tickets in here, just little things you could use, embellishments basically. There's people, I have some playing cards and a tag. So again, this is a lot already. Like I'm not going to use that many pieces. Just give yourself a little bit of your favorite variety and stick it in that pocket. Now, this usually is in here. The third pocket I keep empty because if you're going somewhere and you journal, you're going to collect ephemera. It's inevitable. So maybe you have a napkin from your coffee that you got at the coffee shop that you like. You can use that in your mixed media journal. Just shove it in this pocket and you're good to go, and it's right there for you. And then these I just have in here for inspiration. I do have a couple playing cards. As you can see, the scissors come in handy because I cut that off. And I just leave these in here for when I travel. Like I can just pick this up and go, whether I'm going for a day or a week or whatever. I also like to put in some labels because I like to use labels. So I'll stick some labels in there somewhere. These are just, yep, there we go, more labels. Playing cards. And then I pick a handful of stickers. So I always pick word stickers. Where are they? So I'll bring a couple of sheets of word stickers. I'll bring some of my favorite like embellishment type stickers. So like cameras and, you know, stuff like that. And then I'll bring hearts and stars because those work with everything. So that's kind of what I bring there. And then I'll bring anything I'm wanting to use up. These are more labels. Here's like a sheet of paper that I would have used for layering. I wanted to use up my rub ons, I guess, so those are in there. And then in the back here, I stick a couple stencils. So these are from Jane Davenport, and then these are from like a Recollections or whatever. They are planning stickers, but, I mean planning stencils. But if you're just doing mixed media, like look at this. You'll have to kind of color through that or draw around it or whatever a couple times. It is a smaller pattern, but you have several patterns that you can work with. So if you don't have that, don't go out and buy new ones. It's fine. Like I have my playing card stencils in here because they're my favorite. But just pick a couple of your favorite small stencils, stick them in the back here, and you're good to go. See, here's a postcard from the last trip I took. It's still in there, along with this hiking thing. You know, ephemera shoved in there. I forgot about this. You're gonna want this. This is a piece of acetate for your smooshing technique. Super comes in handy. Gives you extra ways to use the mixed media tools that you brought, other than just putting them straight on the page. But if you buy something, you can easily use the packaging from it. If you forget it, it's not a big deal. And then this is just something else I like to keep in here. I personally I'm not a huge fan of the Peerless watercolors, but I do have a couple sets of them. So this is just in here. It's an easy way to carry a lot of colors. Again, if you're going for long periods of time, this isn't ideal, but if you're just going for a couple days, bam, watercolor palette. Super flat, done. So yeah, that would be everything that I bring other than my journal, of course. Now, this may be a lot for some people. I always have giganto bags, so, you know, and I'm sure a couple other things would get thrown in there. Like, I would just kind of open up this bag and maybe slide my date stamp in there with one of my mini pads, which I don't have right next to me, but that would probably go in there to be realistic. But yeah, that's that. I hope that was helpful for some of you, and you got some tips or ideas as to what you would take. If you have any tried and true mixed media journaling kit essentials for your travels, let us know in the comments below. I would love for you guys to share your knowledge amongst yourselves. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.